welcome to another Seismic Cinema podcast. I'm joined by our usual co-host Paul, but also our special guest that we keep going on about, Daniel.
Thanks for having me on.
Always a pleasure.
So we thought we'd get rid of Paul screaming his name at the start of the podcast because it was getting a bit of criticism in the Twitter sphere.
To be fair, that was my dog's fault. I'm blaming my dog. 100% the
Right,
dog.
we can't keep blaming Mando every week. The dog's got to live with you. It's got enough on its plate.
Rude.
Okay, so we've finished our review of the 7 chapters of the Book of Boba Fett, so we're not quite ready to let the series go yet. So what we thought we would do this week with our special guest, and what was the job title we gave Daniel again, Paul?
What was the job title?
I'm sure you coined it. Creative consultant.
All right. I don't even remember saying that, but yep, creative consultant.
Creative consultant. So we decided this week to do a ranking of the 7 chapters of the Book of Boba Fett. So we're each going to give our placements going from number 7 through to number 1, talking a wee bit about each episode, what we liked, what we didn't like, and then summing up at the end. Ranking is something that I personally get really amped about, and I'm really excited for the first ranking video. Not a video, it's a podcast. I thought I'd get through a whole one without doing that. Right, are we both ready to get going then?
Ready to go?
Have we got our notepads at the ready?
I've got a scrap bit of paper with some hieroglyphics on it, but yep.
Yeah, I need to buy a notepad with our first share of the profits.
Was it made of imagination, is it?
Yes. So I lost the coin toss in the pre-video call, and I have to go first each time apparently and give my choice in the rankings. So just getting right in there at number 7, I went for chapter 3, which is called The Streets of Mos Espa. We'll start with Daniel as our guest then. Daniel, what was your choice for 7th position?
My choice would be chapter 2, The Tribes of Tatooine.
Ooh.
I don't know how you guys feel about that.
That's we'll hear Paul's suggestion, then we can discuss our first choices.
Okay. I actually agreed with Colin in this one. I went with episode 3 as well as my least favourite.
Well, this is quite an interesting start. So
Well,
why don't
I tell you,
we just take
I've made a mistake. Yeah. So I've written everything down and I've mixed chapter 2 and 3 up.
Okay.
So I'm going for The Streets of Mos Espa as well.
Right, so we're all tied
so
then.
I think we're on the same page now. So not a good start for me.
I've got a feeling that we're going to have similar reasons here. And not only there are parts of this episode I do really like, and we can maybe discuss that as well. But Daniel, what was one of your reasons? Why do you put that in the last position?
Daniel?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
You went out for a wee second there.
I don't know what happened there. I felt as if it was very slow paced. And the way the villains were, the way they were portrayed, I don't think they had showed much of a backstory with them. Wasn't much character development. So that's why I rated that number 7.
What about yourself, Paul?
The main reason for me was basically the introduction of the mods and the way it was done. I just felt it was done really poorly, and I just hate those goddamn bikes.
Yeah, all I can see when
Yeah.
I thought when I was doing my rankings was the colourful bikes, but also a wee bit of the kind of contradiction in that they were stealing water and then had all this fancy equipment.
Yeah, I was thinking that I was just rewatched a tiny bit then. I was like, they're going, oh, we've got no work, there's no money. Yeah, we've got these fancy dancy bikes.
It's an annoying episode because it's also the episode where we see Black Chrysanthemum taking Boba out of his bath, and we also get to see the Rancor for the first time. So there are some really good bits in the episode, but I think the general Star Wars population found the mods and the bikes very off-putting.
Yeah, I don't feel as if they naturally fit in with the rest of the look, of the set, the setting in Tatooine. These bright colored bikes,
They feel like off-worlders, like they maybe came from Coruscant or the Casino Planet on Last Jedi.
Yeah.
What was it like someone saying it's like the Power Rangers been in Star Wars?
They're just forever going to be known as the Power Rangers now, aren't they?
Yeah.
So I think there's some cool bits with the Rancor and seeing the huts again and Black Chrysanthemum, but I feel like it's the one that sticks out. That was the easiest one to place for me in the last position.
Yeah, but it was some good bits, but even like you're talking about the Black Chrysanthemum fight, like I felt that was quite underwhelming because I felt like Black Chrysanthemum could probably have taken out their whole gang if he wanted to, but he got distracted by those mods, and I thought it was just a really poorly directed fight, if you know what I mean.
It wasn't so much the fight that I liked. I just liked the jump scare when he pulled him out of the bath.
Oh, right, okay, I got you.
Because I really didn't see it coming at all. Right, well, we got on to our number 6 then. So we all put Chapter 3, The Streets of Mos Espa, in 7th position. So in 6th place, and I feel like I found this one quite easy to place as well. I went for Chapter 1, Stranger in a Strange Land. So Daniel, what did you have in 6th position?
Chapter 1 also, Stranger in a Strange Land.
There you go.
Mostly, I think because it was, I did like the way it started with him, still in the Sarlacc, continuing from episode 4. But again, I felt as if it was a bit slow and sluggish. I don't know how you felt about that.
I found I didn't dislike the flashbacks. I just feel it didn't flow very well. Like they would just be like you'd be getting into a bit in the past or the present, and it would just jump. And I found that was the thing that frustrated me a lot in the first couple of episodes.
Yeah.
Right, Paul, what was your 6th position?
Well, I think we all just became best friends because my 6 was episode 1 as well.
Chapter 1, Paul. Come on, it's a
Yeah,
book.
sorry, chapter 1.
I know you don't read, but come on.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same as you guys. It was just slow paced, and it wasn't the opening I was expecting. Like I thought the escape at the start from the Sarlacc pit, I thought that was pretty cool. But then the pace kind of slowed, and the only bit I quite enjoyed was the kind of parkour finish at the end with Fennec.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a bit of a buzzkill opening.
It's annoying. Like I really liked seeing the Tuskens and the kind of development with them, but I feel like the scenes were quite slow. They were just kind of like pacing around each other, fighting with sticks. I feel like it's hard. I find it hard to rewatch a wee bit.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, you're not missing much if you kind of skip past it at speed. You're not really missing much important dialogue, are you?
Yeah, I know. And it's a shame they didn't bring the Tuskens back as the reinforcements in the finale, because I think that really would have really tied all the different parts together, but instead they killed them off early doors.
Yeah, I would like to see some Tusken Raiders fight a Scorpionic droid. That'd been fun.
Yeah, I feel like that was a missed opportunity a wee bit.
Yeah, I think they killed them off far too soon.
Right, so we've tied for the first 2 chapters. I feel like it's going to get more interesting as we go up into the now top 5. So I'll start us off with my 5th choice. Chapter 5, Return of the Mandalorian. So I'll be interested to see how we pair up here. Daniel, what did you have in 5th place?
So 5th place for me would be Chapter 4.
Which was the Gathering Storm.
Yes.
And I had Chapter 2.
Oh, really? Okay, that's interesting. There's 3 different choices there. So I'll go first, although I think Paul especially will know where I'm going with this. I spent that whole episode, or half of the episode, wondering where my man Boba was. And although I enjoy seeing Mando, a whole episode without Boba was really jarring for me. And although I enjoyed the mythology and the Mandalorian teachings, I enjoy it as an episode of Star Wars television, but as a chapter of this story, I think it just had no ties apart from Fennec and Mando meeting at the end.
But Mandalorian's so cool, though.
Yep.
Right, so Daniel, why did you choose Chapter 4 in that position then?
So it's the same gripe with the other episodes, I think. Not as bad. I think it's because it keeps jumping back. I think they should have actually maybe made the first couple of episodes with the Sand People.
Yeah.
And his journey forward instead of keep flashing back every episode.
What do you think of a first season in the past and then a second season in the present?
Or
is that too much?
I think that would be too much. I would think maybe the first couple of episodes, maybe make his journey from Sarlacc up to being, getting the suit back and stuff, instead of flashing back, because I think it takes away a lot of the momentum of the season.
Yeah. 100%.
Fluidity from it as well, so it kind of ruins you. It takes basically it's not as immersive if it keeps jumping back like that. I feel.
I think if we'd known, obviously they don't want to spoil too much, but see if we'd known that there was going to be flashbacks and that there was going to be some Mandalorian episodes, do you think if people knew that going in, they might be more accepting of the structure? If it was promoted or in like trailers or anything?
I don't think so. I think the way I'm comparing it to it is because of watching The Mandalorian, and you're used to a certain style.
Yeah.
You're expecting it to be almost the same. I don't know.
Can we just give a shout out to the music in the Book of Boba Fett though? I absolutely love the theme.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%, definitely.
I've spent many hours just doing that wee bit. Did you realize in the last chapter that it actually says Boba Fett when it's making like the kind of tribal noises?
I noticed that in the very last episode. I wasn't sure if that was played at the start or not from episode 1.
I think it was only in the last one.
It was only in the last one.
You would have noticed it, wouldn't you?
Aye, it was definitely only the last one. The whole time I was thinking, oh my god, I'm so stupid. I only just realised now, but nah, it was only that last one.
Yeah.
It was a bit cheesy, but I liked it.
I liked it. So, Paul, you were the last up there. You put Chapter 2, The Tribes of Tatooine, as your 5th position.
Yeah, like, there was a lot I actually liked about the episode. Like, the introduction of the twins, the introduction of Black Chrysanthemum, introduction of the mayor, the train heist I quite liked as well, but there was just quite a lot of like misplaced humour like the whole speeder bike kind of
Like a bantha, yes.
that bit, the very meme-worthy bantha bit, and then the whole thing with the lizard up the nose and traveling off to find his stick, and he makes his gaffy stick. But I just found that whole thing a bit weird and I don't know, out of place, and it just kind of took me out of it a wee bit. But like the action set pieces I really liked, but there just wasn't enough of it.
Okay, right. Moving on to number 4. I went for Chapter 4, The Gathering Storm. What about yourself, Daniel?
For Chapter 4, sorry.
4th place.
Yeah, 4th place. I'm losing my place
Don't
here.
worry, you're fitting right in with our brain part.
I would say I might be unpopular saying this. Chapter 7, In the Name of Honor.
Okay, Colin, take him at the call right now. Just delete him.
He's on probation.
Take your artwork back.
Right, so I've got the Gathering Storm. Daniel's put In the Name of Honor. Paul, what's your 4th position?
My 4th is Chapter 4. Is that the same as you, wasn't it?
Oh, a matchy. Did we say something was going to happen if there was doublers?
Yeah,
some kind of forfeit or something.
Something to do with shots, but I don't drink, so it's all you, bud.
Oh, okay. I'll take one for the team. Right, so I'm going to just put it out there. The Gathering, so I really enjoyed that episode. I really liked seeing Mandalorian chapter, was it 9? No, it wasn't 9. It was chapter 5, wasn't it? The Gunslinger.
Yes, something like that, yeah.
I really liked seeing that episode, which I'll go back to what the point I was going to make in a second, but I really enjoyed seeing that episode from a different perspective and seeing what happens to Fennec after Boba finds her. I liked seeing Fennec getting like the cybernetic implants, and this is the episode where they get Slave One back and Boba mows down the bike gang, and there was the cool droids, the sous chef and the Grievous light droid. Actually, I think they're one and the same, but I really enjoyed that episode. I thought there was a lot of cool stuff in it.
Yeah, I'm probably kind of the same as you. There was a lot of cool stuff, like the speeder bike gang getting taken out by Slave One, the whole Slave One extraction. But
our name was born here, the seismic charge.
Yeah, but it's just that bit kind of ruined the episode for me, because like the whole start of it, Bob was going, "Oh yeah, we're working for these idiots who are going to get us killed." Then the very next thing he's doing is sticking Slave One down the mouth of a Sarlacc pit and almost getting his face eaten.
Oh well. The point I was going to make is I think Mandalorian season 2 and also this season, I think they've done a really good job at enhancing some of the more forgettable episodes from Mando season 1, because the Gunslinger is considered the worst episode, one of the worst episodes of the Mandalorian, but I feel like this episode redeems it a bit. Also knowing the fact that Bob is at the end, but also the Prisoner chapter 6 became more relevant when Bill Burr's character came back in season 2. I just feel like a lot of the forgettable episodes in Mando season 1 have been redeemed a wee bit because people thought they were just filler. Not really the purpose of this podcast, but just wondering what you thought.
Yeah, I like it because it does tie up a lot of loose ends, and it brings back, familiar characters, and it develops them a lot more, which I enjoy.
Yeah, same. I agree as well. Helps with the character development, so you care about them a wee bit more than you did before.
Yeah,
because that was the big criticism of Mando season 1, wasn't it? That like 3 of the episodes were filler, but I think they've all been kind of redeemed now.
I would need to watch it back, but yeah.
Yeah, I've been
definitely
watching it back. Something else I noticed. Sorry, this will be the last point before I move on. But the chapter 4 Mandalorian is called the Sanctuary, which is the name of the kind of cantina. And this, I thought that was quite a nice tie-in.
I did not notice.
No, I didn't notice either.
Right, so Daniel, we've tiptoed around it.
Daniel didn't get to do his.
No, that's what I'm about to say. I said we've tiptoed around it long
Oh,
enough.
right,
Let's find out why he doesn't like the chapter 7.
I do like it. It's just not highest ranked. It was a great episode. I really enjoyed it. I think there was just pieces of it that didn't need to be in it, and maybe missing something. So, like the mods, not a big fan of them. So having them used in it quite a lot kind of made it, put it down in my estimations. I mean, I did like, the part when he came in, when Boba came in with the big Rancor, riding that. And I absolutely love Cad Bane. Just wish there was more episodes of him in it. If they used him more, it would have been a far better show.
That's true.
And what do you think, Daniel? Is he dead?
No.
The internet doesn't think he's dead.
No, I don't think he is. I mean, they can't kill off someone that quickly.
He is about 80. I think he is about 80.
Yeah, he is. He is quite old.
Sorry, no. Mando has just gate crashed the building.
No, right. We better get moving then. So third position, different to what you guys were saying. I went for chapter 2, the Tribes of Tatooine, in third position. Daniel, what about yourself?
Yeah. What? So I'm trying to see. I should have scrubbed these off when I was ranking. I would say, yeah, chapter 2. Have I said that yet? Have I put that down?
Paul definitely has.
Oh no, you know what it was? I got chapter 2 and 3 mixed up. So yeah, chapter 2, the Tribes of Tatooine is my next one.
Okay, so we got another doubler there. Paul, what's your third place?
I went for chapter 5, which is Mandalorian season 3, episode 1.
Right. So Paul spoke a wee bit about the Tribes of Tatooine earlier, and I agree with him that, again, you spend a wee bit of time in the present day, then jump into the past. But it's probably my favourite episode that has the past in it, from the train montage. But a bit we didn't mention was when Boba goes nuts and goes to Toshi Station and beats up all the bikers. I thought that was a really cool bit.
I really enjoyed that as well.
Paul spent the whole season going on about how Boba wasn't doing anything, but see, when you look back, he obliterated the biker gang in Slave 1. He took out all the bikers in the cantina. He had a lot of cool moments in the 7th one, and he made a cool face in the first one. So, Paul, I don't know what you're talking about.
Did you say he made a cool face in the first one?
It's when when they're fighting the guys with the shields, and he does like his pure like raging face.
Ah, yeah. Also, that was a stupid fight, but we'll skip past that too.
So Daniel, myself and Daniel are a big fan of the Tribes of Tatooine. Was there anything else you liked about that episode, Daniel?
Yeah, I just love the way how he walks in to, the scene when he walks into the mayor, and basically makes his presence known and trying to assert his dominance. It's kind of no nonsense attitude. I like the way that was shot.
And we also saw the Hutt twins and Black Chrysanthemum for the first time in this episode as well.
Yeah. I liked what was this the Wookiee's name again? Black
Chrysanthemum.
I really liked him. Really. a new kind of character you don't really see that often in these shows. So
It comes from the comic books. I hadn't read any of the Star Wars comic books before last year, but I read a Darth Vader series, and he's in it as a bounty hunter, and him and Boba Fett work together.
all right, okay.
Which is
I
quite
need
a
to,
cool
I
connection.
need to look more into that then.
I've got the Darth Vader ones here, so if you're ever down, Daniel or Paul, if you ever want to have a wee read at them, I can pass them along.
Has it got pictures?
Yeah, that'll be good.
It has pictures, yes.
Okay, I'll read it.
Paul's not very good at reading. We've established that in previous podcasts. So, Paul, you picked the Return of the Mandalorian. See, when I read that title, I was like, is that the actual title? Because it's very, very on the nose. You picked that in third position?
Yeah, to be honest, I really liked this episode again. It was obviously it kind of took you out from the Book of Boba Fett, but if you kind of turn your brain off and just accept it for what it is,
You're good at that, aren't you?
then, yep. No, it's rarely turned on. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. The only thing that kind of dragged it down for me was the montage of him building his starfighter. I felt like that went on a bit too long.
Jabba joke.
Yeah, the creepy Jabba joke. But yeah, like from the start of the episode, it started off like a train setting the tone, and you got to see some cool shots of Mandalore when it gets destroyed. It's very, very Terminator Judgment Day-esque, but
the Great Purge.
A great purge. I think Bryce Dallas Howard done a great job. And like you're saying about the music as well, I think the creature design, I think I say this in every episode right enough, but the creature design and the costumes always look great, I think, in this series. So they've done a good job in that sense as well.
Yeah. Cool. Well, let's get on to our second last choices. I went for Chapter 6, From the Desert Comes a Stranger. What about yourself, Daniel?
The exact same.
Nice. Paul?
Same for me.
Oh, we got right. So, see, as an episode of Star Wars television, that would probably exceed any or most episodes in any of the Star Wars shows. The only reason it's second place for me is that, again, Boba has no words. He has a nod, a cool nod. But there's so much to love about that episode, and also it actually does tie back into the story a bit towards the end when Cad Bane makes his appearance.
Yeah. The reason why I picked it is because basically it shows all the old, some of the original characters. Look, and then you're going back to seeing Grogu. There's actually I was saying to Paul last week, we were chatting, and there's a lot of heavy hitters in this episode.
Yeah, one's more than you would think you would have expected.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's quite good as well because it's got like characters from so no matter what kind of era that you're into or what series you're into, you're getting somebody that you recognise, and it's just quite a pleasant episode.
Yeah, and it's very green. Paul, you liked the green aspect of it, didn't you?
Well, yeah, that's what it was a nice wee change of pace from just the sand. So I'm quite sad that we're going back to Tatooine again with the Obi-Wan series, but hopefully it freshens up a wee bit.
But it's Ewan McGregor. I'd sit and watch him in an empty room. Just nothing in it. No light at all. So
Stalker.
Well, I think we've all got a wee soft spot for Ewan McGregor now.
Oh, well, I was watching Revenge of the Sith earlier today.
Nice. That's some good preparation time.
Hyping myself up for next month.
I thought you said hyping yourself up for the podcast, but I guess he's more excited about Obi-Wan than he is for us, probably.
Well,
do you blame him?
At that point of the day, I actually forgot.
Well, Paul forgot to do his rankings, so these things. I forgot to trim the start of the episode last week, so the first 3 minutes will probably be in this week's as well.
So first 3 minutes was going, Daniel, are you there, Daniel?
Is he safe? Is he okay? Right. So we all agree that episode was really cool. Looked really cool. Mando, cool. Grogu, adorable. Ahsoka Tano, unexpected. Seeing Ahsoka, we need to just touch on this briefly, even though we already did.
Yeah.
Ahsoka and Luke being together. Daniel, I don't know if you've seen Clone Wars Rebels. So I don't know where you're at.
I've watched the Clone Wars. Only seen a little bit of Rebels.
I like you better than Paul now.
I hate
but,
you.
I really enjoyed seeing Ahsoka in it, especially when she was in season 2 of Mandalorian. Setting her character up.
Those white lightsabers.
Oh, they were amazing. So I can't wait to see. Hopefully, she'll have her own show. I'm sure she does have one coming out soon.
Yeah. And
so
Thrawn's going to be in it. Grand Admiral Thrawn's going to be the main villain.
Nice.
So yeah, Paul, listeners, Paul, and anyone who follows us on Twitter will know Paul's now started watching the Clone Wars, which I don't understand why he hasn't, because Paul absolutely loves like clone troopers, stormtroopers, all that kind of stuff. And there's so much of that in the Clone Wars.
So, Paul, have you watched the Bad Batch?
I watched the Bad Batch, aye.
You've watched the Bad Batch, but you haven't watched the Clone Wars. Oh, come on!
I'm just hoping the Clone Wars is better than the Bad Batch show, because I felt like the Bad Batch was just like Daddy Daycare.
Yeah, it is better. Right, so last thing for that episode, we didn't mention Cobb Vanth, who's became a bit of a channel and Star Wars fandom favourite. He might be taken over as the head of Tatooine or Mos Espa, because I think they hinted towards that quite a lot at the end of the finale, that someone else could take over.
That'd be pretty cool. But
yeah,
I would like him to get his own series too. But that's probably.
I don't know if he's a big enough name yet to get his own show. I feel like he would need. Maybe he could take Cara Dune's place in that Rangers of the New Republic series.
See, I don't think he's that strong enough character to have his own show. I would say he's more of a supporting character just now. Anyway,
yeah,
you have to do a lot more before he would have his own show.
Still early days, though.
Yeah.
Daniel, I don't know if you've read any. Have you read any of the Star Wars novels?
I haven't read any, no, but I've looked into some of the stuff. I've seen some videos on some of the canon and some of the other comics, graphic novels.
Cobb Vanth has got minor roles in a series called Aftermath. It's a trilogy set after Return of the Jedi, so he's actually comes from the books.
Right, okay.
Can I just recommend one book to both of you, plus the listeners, all 40 of them? The Lost Stars. It's a novel set between A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, and it's two friends / lovers. One's an Imperial, one's a rebel, and they grow up together, and then they end up having to fight in the war against each other. It's really good.
Okay, I'll look into that.
It's fantastic. Genuinely, they could make a movie out of it.
Sounds very Romeo and Juliet.
It is. It's Romeo and Juliet in space, but it's so good because you actually see the original trilogy from their perspective as like minor characters. So they're like at some of the big battles in the original trilogy.
Oh, they Romeo and Juliet themselves at the end?
I'm not telling you the end of it, but generally it's so good. Anyway, total tangent, but worth it. So number one, I'll probably be able to work this out by a process of elimination. So I've got Chapter 7 in the Name of Honor, which I'm assuming Paul does as well.
Hells yeah.
So Daniel, let me see if I can work out Daniel's from Is yours the Return of No? No, it's not. I don't actually know.
Yeah, it was Chapter 5, Return of the Mandalorian.
Okay.
You might not agree with that. You might hate me for it, actually.
No. I like the episode. As I said at the start, I just got annoyed about Boba disappearing. So, Daniel, what made that one stand out for you as the best out of all 7?
It's the Mandalorian. It's Mando coming back. But not just that, but it was good for setting up the rest of the story. Why he was coming back, and not just showing up randomly through through an episode. It's good to actually set someone else's story up, his development, and where he's at. And basically, yeah, he's a badass. So
that's a really good point actually about him just not appearing randomly. Because when I had it in my head, he would just appear during a fight in Tatooine. So yeah, that actually yeah. That
and I
changes my
think
opinion a wee
it's
bit.
good for the people, the Star Wars fans coming into Boba Fett, to get that kind of Mandalorian fix before season 3 comes out as well.
Yeah, it's like free advertising.
Yeah, basically. But I like
So-
little crossovers like that. It does, keep you. It keeps you hooked.
Yeah, it was a great episode.
I think when you look back on the season as a whole, it's easier to appreciate that. But I think when you're watching it week by week and you don't see the main plot for a whole episode, I think that's where I think on a rewatch I'll be able to appreciate it more.
Yeah, I'm finding that when I was rewatching the episodes today, trying to refresh myself, and you do appreciate. There was ones, the episodes that I ranked 7th. Was it chapter 3?
Streets of Rasespa.
Yeah, I think watching it now made me appreciate it a lot more and knowing where it was going. So yeah.
Right, so Paul, we obviously both picked In the Name of Honor. I'm just going to say 3 words: Rancor, Jetpack, and Grogu falling asleep next to the Rancor. That's not really 3 words, but yeah, 3 things.
Yeah, it was a pretty epic episode. I was quite saddened when Daniel put it so far down the list.
I'm sorry. I apologise.
I feel like if there's a downvote button and anywhere, it's going to get hit so many times because of that.
It'd be a bit of a boring ranking podcast if we all had the same one. So I, for one, liked that there was a bit of a difference of opinion in there. I know you're joking because I could hear you. I thought that was Paul giggling, but it wasn't.
That's me.
No, I thought it was, like, obviously, like, I'm all for character development and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, I do like just a good little bit of action, and I felt like this episode was just action from like pretty much start to finish, with some wee bits of tension kind of sprinkled in there as well. And probably the main thing I quite liked is like Mando and Boba Fett's interactions with each other, like the way they talk to each other, and the way they're fighting together. That was the kind of bit that stood out for me for that episode.
They've got a good bond, don't they? Like you can see a natural chemistry between them. It's not just like they're 2 guys in the suits. They actually seem like they like each other and respect each other.
Yeah, you could see that the way they fought almost back to back. They were managed to hold off, everyone for so long. They had that kind of
Camaraderie.
Yeah. They were able to read each other, and they know exactly where to look.
It was almost like a dance, wasn't it? Like they were just choreographed perfectly.
They didn't even have to, talk to each other. You know exactly.
And they were actually fighting for each other.
Yeah.
I also think that Mando was good in the episode, but I feel like he didn't overshadow the episode. I feel like it was a nice way to have him in as more of a supporting character, because I feel like Boba didn't take center stage.
It was definitely a nice balance between the two.
Yeah. So last week, myself and Paul gave our overall rating out of, was it 10, Paul, we went for?
Yeah.
So I went for a 7 because I really enjoyed the majority of it, but I had my issues with the lack of Boba and the bikes, the Power Rangers. Paul, you went for a
high 6. I'd probably still say that.
So
I found the first 4 episodes quite jarring and quite slow, and I was struggling to enjoy it. The last 3 did kind of save it, but not enough to bring it up to the high heights.
So Daniel, what would you give it out of a 10?
I would give it an 8.
An 8? Oh, okay,
Yep.
we're getting this be
Pretty
staircase.
high, you know. But that's coming back to me, you know, rewatching it and appreciating again, watching it again, and maybe seeing things that I've missed, you know, the first watch round.
Yeah.
But I think it was just maybe three episodes that saved it, and 1 or 2 characters as well saving it again.
Okay, so I for one really enjoyed. I absolutely love ranking things, as I mentioned at the start, but I enjoyed hearing everyone's point of view and seeing where we agreed and where we disagreed. I think we had a good mixture of both there.
Yeah, it was quite a good
Yeah,
wee
definitely.
diverse one. The first couple of places were all kind of the same, but yeah, after that,
Yeah.
it got quite controversial. Daniel.
So Daniel, did you enjoy your debut? Is this your first ever podcast in life?
Yes. Yep.
So I think you did a cracking job, and we'd like to have you on again if you would want to.
Yeah. Hopefully I'll be better the next time. I'm still nervous talking just now.
Well, for context, folks, Paul and Daniel know each other, but me and Daniel have never met. So that's just the wonder of podcasts, isn't it?
Yeah. So for people I don't know, I can be quite socially awkward and quiet. So I'm really trying here. So if you know when you listen and you hear awkward silences from me, it's because I'm nervous.
Well, you're in good company here. Me and Paul are awkward people as well.
Yep, exact same. So, yeah, good on you for coming on anyway and trying it out, because it's not an easy thing.
Yeah.
We know.
No, I know.
Yeah.
Especially when you're not face to face to people.
Yeah.
You know, it's harder to talk and have a conversation, I think.
We could maybe do a live one at the Seismic Cinema Christmas night out.
That sounds good. I'm in for
Is
that.
that going to be in Dunning or Castlemilk?
We'll meet in the middle.
We can do Dunning if you want.
I think we should get a wee night out, and Paul can have a blue milk or something.
Non-alcoholic cider.
Yeah. Right. So just to finish off, Paul, are you wanting to take the honours of reminding the listeners of our tagline?
It is sorry for what we've put you through.
No, that was the working title.
Oh, right, okay, sorry.
Does Daniel know it? I think Daniel might know it. Our slogan.
He's only designed the banner for it and all.
I know.
It's
the pressure of drawing a blank because I did write it out. I remember typing it. I just
I'll tease up the power of
escapism.
Yes.
Escapism.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Well, I for one think this was a nice wee escape from the real world for 48 minutes. So our podcast wasn't much shorter than it was last week, but that was.
Well, I enjoyed it. So thank you for having me on.
No problem. So just to let everyone know / remind everybody that we are on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and have a not as shiny but still new YouTube channel, all under the name of Seismic Cinema. So please follow us, subscribe, like, all that good stuff. In terms of the podcast, we're on our home base of Anchor. Big shout out to Anchor for letting us do this for free. Spotify. We're also on Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts. We have so many different locations now.
And good pods.
And good pods. I keep forgetting about good pods. So let's finish with the Book of Boba Fett. I think it'd be good to maybe season 2 in the future potentially revisit this. It'd be good to do some more Star Wars content in the future, but we're going to take a wee break for the next 6 weeks. We're building up to Moon Knight coming out on Disney Plus, which we know nothing about basically, so we're going to do a bit of research into that. What we're going to look at next week is something a bit different. Paul, are you wanting to take this away?
Yeah, so one of our requests was it from Kieran? Was it from Kieran, wasn't it?
Kieran Mobeck, cousin of
Kieran
Paul.
Mobeck. Oh, yeah. He requested that we review The Shining, and Colin's seen The Shining. I haven't seen it, which I know is a bit weird because I love my horror movies. I've seen bits and pieces. So yeah, we're going to do a review on that, and hopefully, it'll be a bit different from Star Wars and maybe interest a few more people.
I just thought of a good way to sign off. No beer, no TV, makes Homer something.
Go crazy.
Don't matter if I do.